Just kind of typical SEC game, man. It's just this league is it's just complicated. It's hard. I mean, hats off to Conzo. He's become one of the guys I respect the most in this business, and after the year they've had from an injury standpoint, to keep those kids playing as hard as they play and as good as they are defensively, created major problems for us today. We couldn't run any offense, but somehow, somewhere, we figured out a way to win the game, and that's what counts.
David?
Franco, we've kind of seen it all year. The guys come out for the second half, and it just seems like a switch has been flipped. Just what was the biggest key toward the second half run today?
I mean, the first half, we got a breakaway dunk that we missed. Jacoby's got a point-blank layup that he misses. Jermaine had a layup that he missed. We just, we just didn't score. And, we had two bad. So now we're up, I think it was 9 or 11. I think it was 9. And we have back-to-back bad defensive breakdowns by Keyshawn and Jermaine at the end of a clock. And, you can't give Missouri's too good defensively. You can't give them, like, mistake baskets. You got to make them earn the baskets they get. But we came out the second half and kind of got in the open court and converted and made a couple threes and, and kind of built the lead. And then we went back to the offensive doldrums that we created for ourselves all game. Missouri created for us the whole game. And but like I said, at the end of the day, this is not diving. That's the thing that gets me with metrics. Offensive efficiency being a part of metrics, the net and all that stuff. This isn't diving. This isn't gymnastics. Because somebody does a triple somersault, they shouldn't count more than a guy that does 2 somersaults. It's basketball. You either schedule good teams or you schedule bad teams. You either win or you lose. And style should not be a part of rankings and all that. I think that's the biggest joke I've ever heard of. But it is what it is. It's an SEC game. It was a rock fight. And we figured out a way to win. That's number 18, and it gives us 9 league games. So, I think I'm wrong with what I'm going to say, but when we go into Auburn, we got a chance to win 10. That would be the 5th time we win 10 games since I've been here. The school had won double-digit league games 6 in its history. 6 times. So, I'm really proud of these guys after what we went through last year. To come back out this year and accomplish some of the things that we've accomplished up to this point.
Colin?
Frank, a couple weeks ago, you talked that the teams now have your offensive tweaks on tape. Have you sensed defense is playing you a little bit differently given those tweaks, and what do you have to do to, I guess, be a little bit more consistent?
No, we got to score the ball in the paint. We don't, that's in the second half. We won because we got to the basket, and we made some. We weren't very good offensively today. We made some lazy cuts, just lackadaisical attacking the ball. When you play Missouri, you better go get the ball because they're coming after the ball. And we had some lackadaisical offensive plays, and you cannot play well against Missouri if your cuts are lackadaisical, your screens are lackadaisical. But that's, again, that's bad for us, but credit them, man. They created a problem. They got after us defensively. It took a little while to get a feel for how they were handling ball screens and handoffs, and we got a better feel for it as the game flowed, and we got better stuff out of it. But bottom line is, if you want to win, you got to score in the paint. If you don't score in the paint, you can't win. And we were fortunate to get some free throws there in the second half.
Frank, I know you guys still have one more regular season game to go, but especially with senior night and then, just the fact that you guys had so many new faces this year, and obviously some of those guys being seniors. I'm sure there's special groups, whether it be, during your time at USC or going back to Kansas State. Where is this group in particular, not just the seniors, but all the new faces that came in to be able to get you guys to this position where, going into the year, some people projected you guys to finish 12th?
Mike, I've said this, I didn't say it last year because then everybody would have used it against me in recruiting. And so I didn't say a word until this year. I came real close to saying I'm done. Like, not USC, coaching. My health was bad. I didn't like the way I was treated. It is what it is. I'm a big boy. I don't want anyone crying for me, but I came real close. I had a team quit on me. That never happened to me before. I didn't know how to handle all that. And all these kids came in here, man, and they gave me life this summer. They gave me enthusiasm when I started recruiting them. When they said, "Are you kidding me, man? You're Frank Martin. I'd love to play for you." I'm like, "Ooh." And and I got excited recruiting them. And then when they showed up on campus, it's been, it's been an incredible journey with these guys up to this point. I'm not in a place to get into the I don't know what the word is, the emotion of what these guys mean to me right now, because we're still in this fight, and we got a great opportunity on Saturday against one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the country on their senior day, which we've become the senior team for everybody. For the state of Alabama. How about that? We're going to go in and play Troy and everyone else and have their senior day against us too. It's Phil. You want to come with me on that one? But special group of guys, man. They have a competitive spirit about them that's fun to be around, and they got an edge about them now. I wasn't happy with some of those guys today, and they let me know they weren't happy with me either, and I'm at peace with that. I'm got no problem with that. Just play for your team and go win, and we got guys that really enjoy doing that.
Alex Jones on the Lakers.
Frank, you guys really capitalized on your free throws there right at the end. How it goes to see, especially your veterans, go to the line and make those clutch free throws right there at the end.
Yeah, Jermaine missed that one-on-one. I think Devin made his free throws, if I remember correctly. I think he missed the first one he shot in the game, if I remember correctly. And then he made some big-time offensive plays to create free throw opportunities, and he made his free throws. And you're going to win these kind of games. That's the difference right there. We had a chance to ice the LSU game, miss free throws. I had a chance to ice I can't remember what's the other game, Ole Miss game, and miss free throws, which allowed them to score the ball. And then we obviously made that Hail Mary to win. But it's a big part. I get blamed a lot for when people miss free throws. I say it all the time. I'm not a hermit. I don't kind of hide in my basement. I kind of get around and go around people. And, I've always had people come up and ask me, like, "Hey, Coach, do you practice free throws?" I'm like, no. You don't practice free? No, I don't play. I don't practice free throws. I used to do that back in the day, not anymore. And it's free throws not an easy play, man. Everyone thinks, every guy that sits in a chair thinks that it's just go stand at the line and shoot some free throws. Well, they didn't just take a charge on the other side of the floor, and they didn't have to deal with Boogie Coleman and everyone else that Missouri's got and get hit on the head on the way to the basket. And then kind of gather your composure and shoot a free throw. That it's takes a mental capacity to be at peace with that moment. And I think Jermaine's got the experience, and Devin has the character. And then Eric, Eric's missed one free throw all year. I could be wrong. I think he missed one, because I remember how mad he was when he missed that free throw. It's 26 in a row. Yeah, I thought he'd missed one. I remember it like yesterday. He lost his mind because he missed a free throw. And so it's good to see those 3 guys go to the line. James Reese made his free throws today. It's good to see. We needed that. We needed every break we can get to win this game today.
Phil, in the back.
You were up 1 with about 90 seconds to go, timeout, and you came down the court, and Carter fed the post and broke and got a pass back and scored and got fouled, made a free throw. Was that a design play, or was that something that they saw coming down the court?
They were paying a lot of attention to Jermaine. That was a design play. They were paying a lot of attention to Jermaine. So I wanted to get the ball to Devin. He's our best dribble driver of the basketball. We couldn't run continuity offense because the way they were switching and their length, it was bothering us. So I didn't want to work the clock and get it to the end. I wanted to go at him right away. And we executed. So Jermaine made his cut. Wildens had a good screen. Wildens' man had to help. I didn't want to come off the ball screen because they were doubling. But by making Wildens' man help, if he hadn't held, Jermaine gets a layup. So Wildens' man helps, pass it to Wildens, come get the ball. And now it gave Devin space to be able to drive the basketball. And give him credit. He made a hard shot. He got in there, created a foul. But that's Devin. Devin's got a chance to be a special player. He's good that way.
I know you've talked a lot about trying to get Wildens going, and I know that stats don't necessarily maybe jump off the page today, but it seemed like he had some moments, that dunk in the first half, those 4 blocks. Just curious what you saw out of him today, and you think maybe that could be kind of maybe a breakout performance for him or help him get going.
Yeah, I thought he played with the most energy that he's played with in a while. I still don't comprehend how he cannot get rebounds. It's really, really frustrating as a coach. But he played with energy today. I got all over him because he took back-to-back 18-foot jump shots on the first pass. I'm like, that's not what we're trying to get done. What are you doing? And but then he came down, and Jermaine drove, and his man helped, and Jermaine drove and made that little baseline jump shot right there. And then defensively, I thought he was real good. Not only his blocks, but he got switched off on guards. He kept the ball in front of him. One time he even took a charge. I think it was Pickett tried to drive him, and Pickett's a hard guard. And he took a charge guarding the ball. Wildens is a big time kid, and I've been really hard on him because he lets himself down. Not because he's letting anybody down. He allows himself to get in his own way. And I've been hard on him over the last month to get him out of that funk because he worked too hard and he's too good a kid. Give him credit. He shows up every day and he continues to work, and hopefully this gives him springboards him to getting back in a better place so he can help us here with whatever number of games we got left.
Hey, Frank, kind of going back to senior night, wanted to ask about James Reese specifically, hometown kid coming back here to finish his career. Just what does it mean to you to see a kid choose to make that choice to come back here, finish his career as a Gamecock? It's something he's dreamed about his whole life.
Yeah, James is an unbelievable young man. Go to AC Floor and ask anybody there. Everyone loves him, and it goes back to when I recruited him in the spring. I first phone call. I spoke with him. The first thing I said, hey, I made this mistake once. I'm not making it again. And he started laughing. He goes, you don't got to explain anything. I said, no, I needed to tell you that because I've always respected you too much as who you are. And in recruiting, sometimes we pay attention to all the things that they don't do when you see them too much. And I worried about coming out of high school, I'm talking about. When he came out of junior college, that's when Jermaine and all these guys we had all those freshman guards, so I didn't need another guard. But coming out of high school, I always debated whether I should have offered him and kept him home. And he's one. Everyone talks about the ones we don't get. We had this in the press conference the other day. He's one of the ones I chose not to pursue. And he didn't hold any grudges, man. And to see him come home and have the senior year that he's had here, playing in front of his family, his friends, the courage that he's brought every single day to give us a chance to once again. I know it hurts some people to admit this, but for us to become a good team once again, because everyone acts like we've been winning 6 games a year for the last 5 years, and he's got a lot to do with that. He's got a lot to do with that, and I couldn't be happier for James. James has me in his corner for the rest of his life for whatever he needs. Even though he's been here for 1 year, he's no different than Chris and Sindarius and Michael and Dwayne and all the guys that have been through here that they know they got me for whatever they need for the rest of their life. James has earned that from me in 10 months or whatever it's been.
David on the left side of the room.
And Frank, nothing's really decided tonight because we got the week to play out. But does seeding in the SEC tournament really mean anything for you guys? Are you trying to say I'd like to get that spot, not that one?
It does to me. It does to me. Listen, I talked to the team the other day about back in the day, Muhammad Ali was unbelievable. And he could probably beat George Foreman every single time they fought. But he couldn't beat Ken Norton. Bad matchup. He'd have to go to war with Joe Frazier to figure out a way to beat him. Ken Norton and Joe Frazier got put to sleep by George Foreman. But it's all matchups. So there's teams that I don't like how we match up against them. So I'm hoping we avoid those people. I'm not going to tell you who they are, obviously, but, it's all matchups. It's just like the NCAA tournament. When we got put as a 7 seed and, boom, the teams that went up, I saw the teams that went up there, and I was like, I like the matchup. I like the second-round matchup, and I like the possibility of moving forward because of the teams that were in our bracket. It's all matchups. You get the wrong matchup, I don't care how good your team is, you might have a bad day. So But yeah, that means something to me. For us to be able to finish, in the top half of the league standings, I almost said something I shouldn't say, but I say this all the time. I don't live my life to make people that don't believe in me look bad. I don't lose a second of sleep over that. I live my life to make people that believe in me look good. And those players believe in me, so I'm really happy that we got a chance to finish in the top half and it's the number one league in the country. And it's not a close second. There's not another league that's a close second. It's the number one league in the country. And I'm really happy that we got a chance to finish in the top half.
Right
After
there.
we were predicted to go where? Because I don't pay attention. Mike, I think you said it, 12? That ain't bad.
Eric's a guy that's obviously mentioned. He looks at some of the net KPI, BPI, all the
Eric Stevenson?
Yeah. How do you keep guys focused on, hey, don't worry about how many wins we need at the metrics, and just kind of keep them focused on the day?
All right, so let me ask you this. I tell them the truth. I don't hide stuff. Like back in the day, you didn't tell anybody anything because I had no way of figuring anything out. Now they get more information than I get because I don't read the garbage on the internet. So let me ask you this. If we can figure out a way to beat Auburn, get to 19 wins, get 10 league wins in the number one league in the country, finish, what would it be, 6, I think? If we beat Auburn, we're the 6th seed. We're the 6th seed. How's that team not good enough to be in the NCAA tournament? Why? Because the net says that we're 78? Like, really? Like, I thought it was about winning and losing. I thought it was about, by the way, our strength of schedule, you guys can't use the garbage that our own media used in 2016 saying we played a bad league schedule. Our strength of schedule will be top 25 in the country after Auburn. So how's that team not getting the tournament if we can figure out a way to beat Auburn? That means we'd have 7 wins away from home. 7. Tell me another team in the country has won 7 away from home, 5 in league play. I can give you all kinds of real numbers, not the BS numbers that lazy people use a computer to investigate. But I'm not putting my energy into all that because we put ourselves in this pickle that we're in coming down to the end. And in 2016, I learned not to lose sleep over what is right and what is wrong. 2016, this team should have been in the NCAA tournament, finished 3rd in this league, won 11 league games. They took a team that we beat head-to-head, finished below us in league standings, and had a worse RPI or whatever they used to use back then than us. That's who they took. And so when you ask me those questions, I talk to the team about what's in front of us, what the challenges are. I don't really get into the whole net and this and that because it's about winning. Go win the next game, period. And at the end of the day, you win enough. The people make these decisions. I would hope respect the team that wins 19 games. I'm making an assumption that we can win at Auburn. That wins 19 games, 10 league games in the hardest league in the country. That's won on the road, scheduled hard, scheduled away from home. I didn't play 100 bye games at home. We played like on the road. And then you take into consideration COVID. Our team got hit by COVID again. I don't know why there's a game we didn't get to play because of COVID. We went into Clemson and played with 4 chairs and me. We could have canceled the game. I could have said no, but we went and played it because it's the right thing to do, and we didn't win. But our team got slapped with COVID again, and when we prepared to play Auburn, which at the time I think was number 1 in the country, we only had 2 days of practice with a complete team. It's hard, man. It's hard, but it is what it is. It's at the end of the day, I'm gonna quote my Nostradamus, Bob Huggins. If you win enough, you get in. If you don't, you won't. It's not complicated. So we got to go play and let the people make the decisions they got to make.
Hale, in the back.
Sort of on that topic of where you guys were at when you played Auburn the first time, can you kind of sum up where you guys are as a team compared to kind of everything you guys were dealing with and coming back from and trying to move on from at that point?
I think we're a much better team. I thought against Auburn we played really, really hard. We didn't play really clean. You know, if you remember the second half, we were down 8, and we had 3 straight possessions to cut into the 8, and instead we went turnover, missed, bad shot, turnover. And they scored on 2 of those and popped it back to 12, and then we just kind of got to the finish line for that game. They're really good. I mean, I don't think I need to say that. I think everyone understands that. They've earned the right to be a top 5 team in the country. They've beaten the people in front of them. You know, Bruce does a great job. He gets those guys to play really hard. You know, we got our hands full on Saturday. You know what? But you gonna bet against these dudes that all showed up here and have won 18 games up to this point? I ain't betting against them. You know, now does that mean we're gonna win? No, but I'm glad those are the guys I'm gonna go play that game with. It's you know, you either win or lose, and then when it's over, you go to the conference tournament, and then you got more opportunities to play again. You know, but I'm really, really happy with these guys. I think Auburn's good. Wendell Green made every off the dribble jump shot he shot against us here. We got to be better on that coverage, and it's hard because when he's shooting it like that, then you got to show, like you got to get out there. When you get out there, and they got Kessler. I think Kessler. Smith obviously is playing like the first pick of the draft. I think Kessler is the most impactful player in our league. How he impacts offense, screening, passing, shooting, blocking shots. I think he's the most impactful player in our league. If you told me to vote for a league MVP, I probably today, I haven't done it yet, I'd probably vote for him. I think he impacts winning more than any player in this league because he does it in so many different – it's not just one stat. Defensively, he guards ball screens. He's out there, moves his feet, rotates, blocks shots, rebounds the ball. They run their offense through him. They run that big wide flex, and they throw him the ball at 7, whatever he is, and he just throws the ball over the top of you. And it makes it really hard. Makes it really hard. So we got our hands full. And that place, they've probably created as good a home court environment as there is in the country. My hat's off goes to Auburn. I remember going in there my second year, and there might have been 100 people at the game. And now it's calling a timeout, there's a waste of time. You can't hear yourself talk. So it's credit to Auburn and its fan base for what they've created there.